Okay, hello, how's it going? My name is Mike, and I've been looking for a while for a Linux distribution that would replace Crunchbang. It's kind of a minimal, lightweight distribution that folded up a couple months ago, and I saw in my Feedly feed today that there's something called Peppermint. That's a distribution that looks like it might take the Crunchbang's place, or it's advertised as a lightweight, minimal distribution. So I'm going to install it on a virtual machine in my VirtualBox and show you how to do it. Check it out. You'll find the ISO file able to be downloaded at peppermintos.com, and you can either get the direct download or a torrent file, .torrent file. I torrented it on uTorrents, and it's about, let's see, 1 gigabyte. I mean, that's considerably larger than the almost 800 megabytes that Crunchbang 11 was, but it's still fairly small compared to a lot of other distributions. Red Hat Server comes in at about 4 gig. Kali Linux 2 is about 3.3. Fedora Workstation 23 that I have is about 1.5 gig, and these are just the ISOs. It's not how much space they take up when they've been expanded. Another one I want to look at that I haven't quite gotten to yet is Alpine. Apparently, people are using that in containers. It's really, really, really minimal, so it does just exactly what they need it to do. But as soon as you have the .iso file in either 64 or 86, this is the Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager. It's free. You can download it. Another option would be a VMware Player, but that's getting really difficult to find online because they kind of bury it on their website. So you're going to want to go to New. I'm going to name mine Peppermint7. It's Linux. This is built, I believe, on top of Ubuntu, so we're just going to select 64-bit. Go 1024 memory, just to see what happens. That's about a gig. We'll go with the minimal requirements, VDI, VirtualBox disk image. I do dynamically allocated just because I have a feeling this won't take up too much space. 8 gig should be fine for this. And now it's going to give you this option in the menu. It'll be powered off. You can either right click to start or double click it to power it on. Okay, here we are back again. I've double clicked the Peppermint7 entry in my VirtualBox virtual machine list, and it'll come to select startup disk. And we don't want to install a Red Hat server, so find where you have the ISO here. For me, it's just under downloads. So open that up, make sure it comes up here. Click start. It'll take a little bit to run. You're essentially, loading the operating system. So I don't really want to try it. I just want to install the OS. 'Cause if I don't like it, I could just get rid of it. That's no big deal. I want it to, yeah, auto capture the keyboard. That's no big deal. I just click these out of the way. And this might take just a minute. Alrighty. After waiting a little bit, after clicking into the disk, you'll be clicking through a bunch of generic install options. For me, this is going to be English. It's really fun to, now that I see some of these languages, something that's kind of fun is if you're learning like a new language to actually install an OS, like a distro of Linux in some different language. Like right here, I can see Icelandic and Norwegian. It's kind of fun to do, to stumble around inside, like just to see how much you can figure out from context and whatnot. But for now, I'm gonna pick English and continue. For time's sake, I'll do download updates. Let's see. I don't think I'm going to be really doing too much with this, so I'm going to leave the third-party software out. Install it if I need it. I usually encrypt new Linux distributions just to get into the habit of doing it. Install now. Security key. I don't know. For this, I'm just going to do something simple. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. That'd be cruel. Since I want to keep this a quick video, I'm not going to overwrite empty disk space. Install now. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not entirely sure what that error was, but let's see if it comes without disk. I bet it's because I didn't wipe the whole thing. Okay, well I'm gonna have to go up and look into that. That's an interesting error. I'm not quite sure what was happening there, but at least I have a video record of it now. I'm gonna keep it in too because it's interesting. Well, my installation failed, so this has gone to more of a troubleshooting video than it is actually installing it. I'm gonna have to look into that. Well, until I figure out what the deal with the installation was, this is Peppermint Linux 7 running off the live image, and it's, I mean, the closest thing it reminds me to is it's very colorful and blocky, you know, almost like Windows 10. That's interesting. I keep wanting to listen to the white stripes while I'm doing this. That should come default with all of the distributions. Okay. Looks like, I mean, there's an awful lot of text in the start menu. I think it would do well to be a bit more sparse. That's probably my criticism so far. I mean, it looks nice. It looks fairly functional. Open up a terminal, see what's going on. Yeah, I mean, the defaults look very Ubuntu in terms of its coloration and structure. We'll see if we can install Peppermint from the desktop in running live. So let's continue. Let's uncheck everything. Let's keep this as bare bones as possible right now. Erase disk and install. Let's just not touch anything else. We're going to kill all of that. And when you see this and you're going through Oracle, it's not going to cross out of Oracle and like destroy your entire computer hard drive. What it's basically telling you is like the separate, you know, little virtual partition that it has created for this is all that's going to be overwritten. And at the first time I did that and wasn't really aware of it in VM Player, I kind of freaked out because I thought I had destroyed my machine. But no, it's no big deal. So let's see if we get that same error. Okay, so it went through the install sequence. I wonder if it's an issue with disk encryption. I'm gonna have to follow up on. So you can select your time zone where you are. I mean, it's kind of a rough estimate. I'm not actually in Chicago. So, keyboard layout. I'm pretty US, so let's just click into that. And this window is a little smaller. Doesn't. Oh, I went back. That's because I can't quite see all the buttons. Continue. We're doing this over again because I'm dumb and click back instead. Keyboard layout. My name is Mike. Computer name is Peppermint7. Pick username, Mike. Require my password to log in. I'm just going to keep everything defaults and not mess with encryption, so I don't get that funky error again. But right now, it looks like everything's fine. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up staying at this installation screen for a few minutes. This is a fairly small distro. We didn't enable any of the bells and whistles like automatically download updates or download the third-party content. Don't encrypt anything. So it should be done a couple minutes, 5 minutes tops probably. And it's not quite done yet, but I thought this was an interesting thing to put on the installation screen. Their web-driven hybrid philosophy. The philosophy behind Peppermint is to provide a fully functional desktop with minimal locally installed applications out of the box through the use of web apps, but not to compromise its ability to install applications locally. That's interesting. Unlike other cloud operating systems, Peppermint doesn't impose limitations or make choices for you. That reminds me of, I guess, a couple Google videos I was looking at earlier today about progressive web apps and how pretty cool. I first heard of them a few weeks ago when I was at the bar with a friend, and he showed me the Washington Post one, and it was pretty damn cool. It seemed to mix a lot of the native app functionality with an actual web app, and that seems like it'd be pretty handy in a mobile environment. But I'm not really a front-end or mobile developer. I do back-end data crunching stuff, at least for me so far. That's been pretty fun. I like Python. That's my game. Well, here's a little bit more interesting about their integration with web apps and the local environments. They have, in Peppermint's, a web application integration utility that still, it definitely reminds me of progressive web apps. Ice allows seamless integration of web apps into the system menus and delivers them to the desktop, not to be confused with shortcuts. Ice is a site-specific browser framework that launches web apps that function and appear as though they are locally installed applications. The latest version allows Ice applications to be launched by Firefox as well as Chrome and Chromium. And I bet that works with the same technology that... Interesting. I'm going to have to look into that too. That might be a future video to see how they're actually going about doing that. And here we go. The installation has finished. It's going to prompt you to restart. Until we restart, we're still going to be on the live the live install or the live image. So nothing you save or do is going to keep on into the actual installed operating system. So we'll restart. Well, that kind of looks cool. It's gonna pop up again. Make sure nothing broke. Here's the boot up. Very cool. God, that looks like a 90s game. Like I'm gonna have Doom loading in like 5 minutes. There we go. See if everything worked. Still black screen. There we go. Pretty neat. I like the color scheme. Interesting choice of background. Kind of clashes, but... Enter the password you entered in installation. Look at that. Whoa, didn't see that one coming. Okay, cool. The terminal connectivity comes installed out of the box, so there doesn't look like there's anything you need to do. Anything that was kind of a pain in the ass with backtracking Kali, is you had to actually enable the adapters. But let's see what we got here. Install updates. Okay. Synaptic. That means, yeah, built on Ubuntu. That makes sense. So see what Peppermint7 comes with. Comes with standard. Settings panel, terminals, files, software updates, accessories, drivers, app finders, a BitTorrent client, Bluetooth, calculator, configuration editor, Dropbox. That's interesting. Firefox, couple Firefox things, Gmail, Google Calendar. Okay, so this is what they must be meaning when they were looking at when we were looking at Ice. Yeah, comes with 2 default workspaces. I think the thing that pissed me off most about Ubuntu 16 when I installed the desktop version of it was you have to like enable workspaces. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm not gonna do that right now. You have to enable workspaces to be able to shift. I mean, great thing about Mints, and it looks like Peppermint, is like you don't have to do that. I know in Mint you can change the number of workspaces you have. I think the most I've had at one time going is like 4. But okay, Mahjong, Google Games, user guide, Plumas, fairly common text editor, Samba. That's for any kind of network shares. VLC, terminal. Yeah, it's first person. What? Well, okay. I just realized that I essentially gave this virtual machine a gigabyte of memory, which is why first-person Tetris is not loading. You know, for being such a small distribution, the GUI seems to be fairly, I don't want to say ornate, but very nice looking. I like how simple Crunchbang was. I mean, it had the 2-color theme and just was whatever, the bare essentials that you needed without looking like it was made in 1992. Okay, so I'm essentially updating all of the software in Peppermint7. It looks pretty cool. I'm going to explore the local environment and web app connections in Ice. Okay. So it looks like all of these things are web apps that have been locally linked. That's cool. Looks like you can choose what browser will open it. I'm assuming Chrome and Chromium aren't installed. Firefox is default. That's kind of cool. This kind of reminds me of like a Chromebook, honestly, with the whole Google Apps thing. But, well, that's all I've got. Show you how to install it. Showed you what to do in case of something breaking. Just kind of go through it again with different settings and see what happens. Might have to submit that as a bug. Not sure. So, this is Mike, signing off. See ya. Thanks for watching.